Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about 6 different methods for how you can blend your coloured pencils. I'm going to be showing you how to blend with 2 different coloured blenders, a burnisher, another coloured pencil and paint thinner, which I'm going to show you how to apply using 2 different methods. Firstly, I'll show you how to blend one colour and then see how each blender takes a second layer of colour on top. I'll then be showing you how each blender can blend 2 colours together to see which gives a nice transition. I'm going to be giving my opinions, my tips for each blender, which blenders I think are the best, and when I think each blender is useful. So first I have no blender, so we can compare the blenders. For my first blender I'm using the Prismacolor colourless blender, and then I'm using the Derwent blender. For the burnisher I'm using the Derwent burnisher. Next you can use another pencil, any light pencil will do, but I'm going to use the white Prismacolor pencil. Then I can use paint thinner. You can either use a paintbrush to blend the paint thinner. I use a low odour paint thinner, they're quite cheap, I got mine at an art store. Or you can use a cotton bud. So for the Prismacolor colourless blender, the first layer blended the colour pretty well, but it didn't give a smooth finish. You had to apply a bit of pressure to get it to blend nicely, which can damage the tooth, which therefore limits the amount of layers you can apply. So I wouldn't recommend this method for if you want a smooth finish such as skin tones, but it did reasonably well. The Derwent blender, the first layer blended really well. I thought it was better than the Prismacolor. It was smoother, but it still left a grainy texture, so you can still see bits of white through it. Next was the burnisher. I really don't like the burnisher. The first layer didn't blend very well. You needed to apply a lot of pressure, which if you're doing a large area, this is going to just hurt your hand. Next you can use another pencil, which is white. The first layer, it lightens the colour a lot, so you need to add another layer to darken that up, but it did blend it really smooth. The paint thinner is my favourite. It just creates a really smooth finish. You don't see any of that white graininess and it doesn't damage the tooth at all, so you can apply lots and lots of layers on top, so you can really define and get a 3-dimensional colour with that. And the paintbrush really allows you to keep control and get sharp edges. The cotton bud does the paint thinner well, but I don't find that you can get as much control with it because it's quite fluffy, so you don't get a sharp edge. Next I tried to add a second layer on top. For the Prismacolor it didn't really go on that well, you had to apply a lot of pressure, and when you started to blend it you can see you get a waxy bloom start to form and it's just not very smooth. It's not bad, but I wouldn't personally use it for much of my work, only if there's a certain part where you're not adding lots of layers. The Derwent was even worse when you added a second layer. The colour went on smoother, it was easy to put it on, but it just blended really badly. For one layer it's okay, but once you add more layers it just starts to clump up. But I recommend you trying both, they're relatively cheap. The burnisher is really hard to apply a second layer because of it's smooth and you push down the tooth a lot in the first layer, so I really don't like the burnisher. Adding the other white pencil, the second layer of colour goes on really smoothly, and when you blend it you got a really nice smooth finish. You didn't really get a wax bloom forming, so I really like that. But again, you can apply many layers to it, which is a good positive for that one. So I think it's very good if you want to do skin tones. Next is paint thinner. The second layer goes on so easy, you don't need to apply much pressure at all, it just glides on, and blending is super easy. You can blend it nicely and you can keep applying those layers. One thing about paint thinner is it's a bit toxic, so if you're using it, use a well ventilated room, so keep the windows open and don't have it open all the time, only when you need it. The cotton bud, it works just as well. The only difference I'd say is that you can't get a defined edge, but it's up to you. I'll try both to see which application you prefer. So that is with one colour. So for my second one, I have 2 colours. I did purple with pink, and just to see how smoothly each one gets a transition. So with the Prismacolor pencil, I thought it blended much better than the first one. So I think the trick with this one is to have a lot of colour already down. Not too much, don't apply a lot of pressure when you're putting the pencil down, but a good coverage so that there's more to blend, so you have a smoother finish. So I did like the Prismacolor colourless blender to blend the two colours together. The Derwent blender, again, it was very nice. It's nice to do one layer with the Derwent blender. I just find a problem if you're adding more layers. So yeah, I liked that one. I'd give that one a try. The burnisher, again, it was pretty horrible. It didn't really blend that well. I would pick any of the others over this. It is my least favourite. I suppose it could be good if you just have one layer and you're going to press quite hard anyway and you've got a lot of colour down, but they're cheap, so it's up to you if you want to try it out. Next was the white pencil. It creates such a smooth finish. It blends it really well. You can apply more layers. You got a nice transition of colours here, so the pinks and the purples nicely blended together, but it lightened it quite a lot. I didn't do a second layer because you get the gist from the first colour, but I thought all these blenders created a nice transition with the colours, so I was pleased with that. The paint thinner, it's blended them really well again. It is my favourite. I always use it, especially for backgrounds where you need a really smooth, well blended finish. Like if you're doing animals, you want a blurred effect. With the cotton bud, it smoothed it really well. It's just really easy to create a three-dimensional realistic effect with the paint thinner. There are them all compared, so you can see the paint thinner, you get the most smoothest finish. So the paint thinner is my favourite. I would then use another pencil, but they all have their merits depending on what you want to use them for. So paint thinner is really good for backgrounds, to get a nice smooth finish, or skin, but you don't need a lot of paint thinner on the brush. Honestly, you just need the tiniest bit. So I have like an old tea towel where I just blot the paint thinner off before I apply it. And I would have a scrap piece of paper, so you're just making sure that you're not applying too much, else it will lift too much colour on and you have to spend more time fixing it. But practice is all you need because it's relatively quick to learn. My favourite of the blenders is the Prismacolor blender. The Derwent is better if you're just going to do one layer though. So if it's just a block colour that you're doing and you want to blend, but again I'll use paint thinner for that. But if you just have the blenders on you at the moment, I think Derwent's better for one layer. Prismacolor is better if you want to do multiple layers. The burnisher, I don't like it, but you might, so try it. It will give you a glossy effect, so if you like that kind of thing, then I would go for that one to do a final layer, but it's definitely not good if you're doing multiple layers. Compared to no blender, they all blended it relatively well. There's hardly any white bits, so they all do their job, but some blend more than others. Paint thinner gives a nice painted effect, which I like if you want your work to look more like a painted and then coloured pencil. But if you're wanting to do realistic work, you don't really want it to look like a coloured pencil drawing. You don't want to really see the grainy look. So it depends what kind of art you're doing, so give them all a try. They're all relatively cheap anyways. Give them all a try, see what you think. I would like to know what you think of them, and if you could give this video a like, I would very much appreciate it, and comment, tell me which is your favourite, and subscribe for more videos like this. I would like to know what other videos and tutorial videos you'd like to see me do. So thank you for watching and have a good day.